founded by Director Robles during his presidency a couple of years ago. And this gives us an opportunity to take stock of what the district has been over the past year and take a look forward at what the future has in store. I will start by recognizing my board members and colleagues. We have here Rob Kaplan. Greg Kaplan, thank you for being with us. Lily Kawasaki, so I understand that Director Alvin Robles and Director William Underwood. On behalf of the WRD board, I want to thank everyone for joining us here at Toronto. I also want to acknowledge other elected officials who are here. And we go through this here. We have Council Member Jayla Zarita, Council Member David Hoskins. Longdale Council Member Robert Pullen Miles. State Senator Honorable Ted Lieu. Orchard-Dale Water District Director Bob Mooney. One of our best attendees, ever missed one of these. Orchard-Dale Water District Director Joe Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy. Pico Water District Board President Adrian Diaz. West Basin Municipal Water District Director Ed Little. Mr. Little. Upper San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District Director Ed Chavez. And County Unified School District Board President Sandra Zurita. Long Beach Water Department Commissioner John Allen. Long Beach Water Department Commissioner Paul Bronco. From the office of Congresswoman Terry Miller, Congresswoman Terry Miller, Sarah Enoy. From the office of Senator Rob Wright, Bill Orton. Mr. Orton. From the office of Assemblymember Lonnie Lowenthal, Patton, Mr. Patton. In relation to General Patton. From the office of Compton Council Member Jay Nazarita, we have here Kira Joe. We are expecting two state legislators to show up a little bit later, so when we get here, I will we can offer them an opportunity to say a few words. And we also have here Frank Clark, President of the Long Beach Water Commission. Mr. Clark. Well, we welcome you and thank you for coming, and thank you for your public service. Finally, I want to thank the public community, and especially the two water associations and our technical advisory committee for the collaboration and support throughout the year. A little bit of the history of the Water Replenishment District, for short. The Water Replenishment District was formed 52 years ago, or as we used to say, old English, 250 years ago. The availability of inexpensive imported water for replenishment is not a problem, at least at first. In fact, in 1961 or 1962, over 208,000 acre feet of imported water was used for replenishment, close at 7 times the volume we use today. Plenty of water was available from the Colorado River, and even more for flow in Southern California, to Southern California from the State Water Project, beginning in 1972. Even so, directors of the district were skeptical about the long-term prospects for imported water. Some of the questions they asked themselves were the following: where will water be replenished? Where will water for replenishment come from 50 years from now? How much, if any, imported water will be available? And what can WRD do to ensure reliability and sustainability in our supply, not just for today or tomorrow, but for the next 10, 20, and 50 years from now? These were then remarkably good questions as they are now. Who would have guessed when WRD was formed in 1959 that just 40 years, Southern California's share of Colorado River water, as well as a future supply of the state water project, would be cut in half, as it has. The early WRD directors had the foresight to ask the question and to begin what has been a steady process by WRD to provide the answer by developing what we call a local supply, and allow a sustainable local supply. We want to permanently replace imported water for replenishment and barrier rejection purposes. The current WRD board today is committed to eliminating the distance demand for imported water, the demand and the dependence on imported water to replenish the Belmont basins. Our Water Independence Now program, which is also known as WRD, is a collection of projects and programs to achieve that independence from imported water by developing local water supplies. Local supply comes in two main forms: there is stormwater and naturally replenishment basins, either through water flow from the upper San Diego Basin or by virtue of its capture behind the linear dam and its time release into the spreading grounds. And there is recycled water, which has become a staple of WRD's replenishment and barrier rejection. First, let's talk about stormwater. We love stormwater for many reasons. Of course, but most of all because it's free. When we don't love it, that it doesn't come around as often as we like, because we have dry years, we have wet years, some rely on it. And when it does, so much of it does come around, so much of it is lost in the ocean. On average, after rainfall, 180,000 acre-feet is lost to the ocean. 5 years ago, that number was closer to 190,000 acre-feet. Two investments WRD has made since 2006 to capture additional stormwater for replenishment have reached huge dividends. Another investment will start paying dividends this year. Some of you will recall that a few years back, WRD partnered with the Los Angeles County Department of Public Works on two significant projects. We invested $2 million to expand the capacity of the Whittier Narrows Conservation Pool to capture an additional 3,000 acre-feet of stormwater in an average year. We invested $2.14 million in the county's installation of rubber dams in the San Diego River to capture an additional 3,600 acre-feet in an average year. In the past 5 years, those two projects alone have captured for replenishment 33,000 acre-feet of stormwater that would otherwise have been lost in the ocean. Assuming an average imported water cost of $600 per acre-foot, that volume of imported water, if available, would have cost the district and the pumpers $19.8 million. Here. A $4 million investment has generated over $15 million in savings and significantly reduced the burden and dependence on imported supply. Last month, the interconnection pipeline between the Rio Hondo and San Diego River spreading grounds was completed. WRD invested $3.5 million in the project, which will capture an additional 1,300 acre-feet of stormwater at an average share. The current cost of a similar volume of imported water is nearly $900,000. So the investment will pay for itself within just 3 average years of rainfall. Ladies and gentlemen, these are great things, great projects, but we are not done. Working with the Council of Watershed Health, we continue to support the water augmentation research the Council has pioneered. More than that, we are sponsoring Council studies that will identify every single parcel within WRD's 420 square mile service area that lends itself to stormwater capture and recharge by virtue of percolation or injection. Our hope is that this study will enable the district and the pumpers to implement runoff capture techniques that will not only comply with regional water quality control board requirements to control runoff, but will also create economic value in the form of quantifiable stored water under a report, sanctioned, legal framework for groundwater storage in the basins. Now, with that said, as much as we love stormwater, we love recycled water even more. It's by far the most reliable local source of water available to us. On July 10th of next year, WRD and the Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts will mark the 50th anniversary of the Whittier Narrows water reclamation. That day is an important milestone for a number of reasons. The Whittier Narrows plant was the first facility in the world to be built for what we, then the pioneer purpose of providing recycled water for the groundwater reclamation. It was also the very first investment of a newly created WRD Board of Directors made to reduce reliance on important water for groundwater reclamation. The cost then was $1.7 million, approximately equivalent to $13 million in today's dollars. The investment has been spectacular, unbelievable. Since 1962, more than 450,000 acre-feet of water have been produced by that plant for spreading in Mount California. All of that water has cost the district and the pumpers roughly $3.15 million, assuming an average imported water cost of $300 per acre foot. Over a 50-year period, a like amount of imported water would have cost $173 million. Big difference. This is attractive as a price, however, is the fact that unlike imported water, we can count on the recycled water being there year after year. I am proud to say that the two top rating agencies affirmed WRD's AA+ rating recently this year. WRD remains one of the few special districts in the state to achieve that rating, a reflection of confidence in the district's sound fiscal management and financial stability. To capitalize that, to summarize that, we hold this district holds a natural AA+ state rating. This year, the WRD board took action to move our wind program forward. We are increasing the capacity of our Leo J. Advanced Water Treatment Facility from 3,100 acre-feet per year to 7,200 acre-feet per year, completely eliminating the use of imported water at the Los Angeles area to protect against seawater intrusion and also to climate change. We are also making significant progress in the groundwater improvement reliability program, river control, that ultimately will result in up to 21,000 acre-feet of recycled water to completely eliminate the need for purchased imported water for groundwater replenishment in the central groundwater basin. Much of the original WRD board of directors took the first step towards imported water independence 50 years ago. WRD's board this year looks at significant steps to finish the job. The goal of independence from imported water for groundwater replenishment and area injection in the site is almost reached. The days when WRD and the pumping community need to worry about the availability or cost of imported water will be past us. We will finally control our own water destiny. A few final things I want to bring to your attention. We cannot say it enough, but the fact is that WRD is extremely proud of its groundwater monitoring program. We own and maintain over 300 nested monitoring wells in over 50 locations throughout our service area. We have published a report on groundwater quality and elevation data every year since 1972. The state of California is about to implement the California statewide groundwater elevation monitoring program. I'm very pleased to announce that the Department of Water Resources has designated WRD to perform the function for the Central and West Coast groundwater basins. Not coincidentally, I should mention that on November 30th, WRD will receive 2011 Outstanding Groundwater Project Award from the National Groundwater Association in its annual convention. The award honors the district's groundwater monitoring program for outstanding science, engineering, and innovation. WRD is also extremely proud to have been awarded for the 7th year in a row the prestigious California Society of Municipal Finance Officers Meritorious Award for Excellence for our 2010-2011 budget document and budget process. Also, for the 7th year in a row, WRD was awarded the Certificate of Excellence by the Government Finance Officers Association. We also received the Institution of the Year Award from the Water Reuse Association and the Association of California Water Agencies bestowed on the district the Theodore Roosevelt Environmental Stewardship Award for Interpark control. While we know we did a good job, it is reassuring and rewarding to receive the acknowledgement of others. We are especially proud of the Theodore Roosevelt Environmental Stewardship Award because it validates the district's commitment to education and the public, of the public, and especially our young people. The vital importance of groundwater quality, and water conservation. With more than 4,300 guests participating in this year's WRD's Groundwater Festival, children and adults alike enjoyed the Aquarium of the Pacific's 41 meals, Storm Eco Station reptile exhibits, and the Discovery Science Center's environmental and educational edutainment. Local students from around WRD's 43 cities were on hand to test their H2O IQ and learn how WRD conducts groundwater monitoring of the Central and West Coast interconnected with groundwater basins. In that same spirit of raising public awareness of the importance of groundwater, WRD was grateful this year to have played a prominent role in conjunction with the National Groundwater Association and promoting the national project for groundwater data. We joined with 125 elementary school students from Rancho Santa Gertrudis Elementary School in Santa Fe Springs, and celebrated the event by having the students take the act, acknowledge, consider, and take action, pledge to protect and conserve groundwater supplies. The event was covered by local television news stations and illustrated what every member of the public can do to protect groundwater. Finally, there was one award that was mentioned in recognition for conceiving, shaping, and guiding WRD's implementation of the Water Independence Now, or WIN program. The California section of the Water Reuse Association named our general manager, Rob Whitaker, Recycled Water Advocate of the Year. The WIN program is a nationally recognized model of local water supply development, and incidentally has been selected as one of 6 demonstration projects under the President's Interim Federal Action Plan for the California Big Delta. WRD's board is extremely proud of our general manager and of our staff. I would like to take this moment to thank our general manager, Mr. Whitaker, for his great great work in your dedication. Before I hand this over to Mr. Whitaker, I would like to introduce one more person. We have Melissa Matas. Ms. Matas, if you could just stand up and wave for one moment in the back here. We are a community organization. We're a community public outreach, and what we're doing is we're trying to set up PSAs in both Spanish and English, both geared towards English-speaking and Spanish-speaking public, young people and local political area folks, to teach them what we do, talk about water conservation, and how to safeguard our water supply. Before I hand it out to Mr. Whitaker, I would like to bring up Director Kawasaki, a good friend and colleague.
Thanking Surgical Calderon. You can imagine this has been just an incredible year. We've been very busy, and the one I really want to thank is all of you, because we can't do this work if it wasn't for the partnership we have with so many of you. And I'm going to name you all, but I won't. And just again, thank you, and we look forward to strengthening that partnership and even stronger partnerships as we go forward. And at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce somebody that I call friend. But she's Assembly Member Bonnie Lowenthal. And Bonnie was elected to the State Assembly back in 2008 and represents the 45th District. 54th District. The 54th District is Long Beach, San Pedro, Signal Hill, Avalon, Rancho Palos Verdes, Rolling Hills Estate, and Palos Verdes Estate. So she's got quite a diverse district. And she chairs many important committees, the Transportation Committee, we know how important those issues are, the Joint Committee on Emergency Management, and the Select Committee on Ports. She was previously a member of the Assembly Parks and Wildlife, and many of you testified before that committee, and she's also Vice Chair of the Women's Caucus. She's a member of many other committees, and I just won't mention those now. I just want to give her time. But yesterday, the Assemblywoman held I guess it's fair to say, informational hearing at the Metropolitan Water District. And the subject of that was water reliability and seismic risk. So as we talk about groundwater and our local supply and storage, we know that what we need to do here is make sure that we have a clean, safe, affordable, and reliable source of water. She's been involved in many of our issues that are near and dear to our hearts and near and dear to our pocketbooks. And so with that, please help me welcome Assemblywoman Bonnie Lowenthal from the 50th.
Good morning. Good morning. It's terrific to be here and see all you water advocates. I don't get to see you often enough, but it is a pleasure to be here, and it was great listening to Sergio's report. He used a few words that I think are really key to probably everything you do and we try to do, and that is, Sergio, when you said your own destiny. And that is really the goal of WRD and those of us in Southern California who want to make sure that we will always be in charge of our own destiny. And that was the reason that I had a hearing yesterday. I'm chair of the Joint Committee on Emergency Management in the State Assembly. And that includes members of the Senate, the Assembly, both political parties, because there really is no partisanship when it comes to emergencies. And the goal was to better understand how we could protect our water supply down here in the event of seismic challenges in the Delta. And it was a fascinating hearing. Some of you actually were there yesterday. We had a very academic discussion about the likelihood of a seismic event in the Delta. We saw all kinds of computer-generated programs that showed how water would actually flow out of the Delta and, in a sense, leave Southern California high and dry, since we do get 1/3 of our water from the Delta. It moved into some discussion of prevention, and last but not least, there were recommendations about how to address those challenges. One of the most important recommendations is you can only work regionally. You can only work regionally to address these challenges. So I want to congratulate you in WRD because you have been doing that for a long time. You are doing that with 43 cities. You have come together to find the solutions to making sure, Sergio's words, you're masters of your own destiny. So I also want to tell you that my first couple of years in the Assembly on Water, Parks, and Wildlife, as we were addressing issues related to the bond and the policy, that it had been so many years since we were able to get anything passed. You remember that was one of Governor Schwarzenegger's highest priorities, was to get something passed, the policy and bond. And so I was there fighting to make sure that any bond that, of course, we put off temporarily would include projects for Southern California and projects for this region. That is absolutely critical. And I think that your system here, what you have created, what you monitor, the water replenishment district, is so important in the event of a disaster. It's critical, and you are doing that. I think the importance of using recycled water, developing recycling systems that you've gotten awards for, and conservation is absolutely critical. And then Sergio just mentioned something near and dear to my heart, and that is public education. Because yesterday, as we talked about the challenges of a seismic risk, today's great shakeout, earthquake preparedness, most people do not think about their water supply. You think about the water supply, and I am really grateful for that. And we need public education bilingually to ensure that people understand that we can't take this for granted. There's a cost to it, and we have to maintain the cost, and we have to better understand it. So when we start that, this is a bad pun, from the ground up, teaching kids that was a fun, right? Did anybody enjoy that pun? That you do a great job in ensuring that independence, that you're masters of your own destiny. And so I just want to thank you all for what you are doing, and hope to work with you in the future, particularly at the state level as I chair this committee on emergency management. Thank you so much.
Letting us have this photo op, and I just wanted to say two things I learned through Supervisor Kenny Hahn was one, make sure you take off your name tag when you get your picture. The other was to make sure you hold on to that resolution when the picture is taken so they don't shop you out of the photo.
We have some electeds, which I believe just arrived. We have staff, we have Senior District Representative Angie Days, English from the Office of Senator 26th District Curry Price. We have Roy Brave from West East Municipal Water District. We have Joe Velasquez from the Orchardville Water District. Mr. Velasquez. And from the Office of Assemblymember Gagliano, we have Julia Juarez. Julia? With that, I'll bring to the meeting field and introduce our staff member and key figure here in the water district, which really helps us direct the district in the right direction and have the foresight which we need for this. That is Rob Whitaker. So Whitaker.
Thank you, President Calderon, and I've got some guidelines here, so I'll stay within my time frame. So I wanted to thank both our president and our board for their leadership, direction, and support, especially this past year. President Calderon talked about the foresight of the district board 50 years ago, and I believe the board this year has made decisions that are genuinely historic as well. It's definitely a very exciting time to be the district's general manager. It's both professionally and personally rewarding for me to work with the caliber of staff we have, and also my colleagues from the pumping community. We've got some folks who are very talented in the local water industry, and it's great to be able to work with both our staff and people from the outside on cooperative efforts that really are going to be meaningful in terms of our water future. The board has adopted a clear vision for the district, and all of us here are enthusiastic about pulling forward in the same direction and making that vision a reality for the community and the public that we serve. Groundwater provides 40% of the overall water supply for our area. As has been mentioned here before, we overlie 43 cities, 4 million people, 10% of the state's population. So groundwater is a big part of the overall water supply in this area, and it cannot be sustained by natural replenishment. So rainfall that soaks into the ground naturally just has not met the pumping demands in our area. And a large part of what WRD does is to recharge the groundwater basins with supplemental sources, and it requires a lot of water. Historically, WRD was the largest user of imported water for groundwater recharge. We were that's largest single user. And that water came from the Bay Delta, which we know is a very sensitive region, and also the Colorado River, which has a lot of competition for that water. Over the years, WRD has worked diligently to reduce our demand on imported water to manage the central and west coast groundwater basins, and we've done a good job at it. Through WRD's Water Independence Now program, though, that we've identified and begun implementation of, these programs will completely eliminate WRD's demand for imported water to replenish these vitally important groundwater basins. I cannot overstate how incredibly important that is to our future in terms of the water supply for us to be able to develop a locally sustainable groundwater resource. In 1987, I was working with the Department of Water and Power, the LA Department of Water and Power, in their aqueduct division. And when they celebrated the 75th anniversary of the first LA aqueduct, the one that we hear about that Bill Mulholland championed, and we heard about in Chinatown, although it's a little bit of a license with realities. But I was there when they celebrated that 75th anniversary. In fact, I dusted off my little commemorative pin from that day. And in just 2 years, that project is going to be 100 years old. And the pioneering vision and spirit that went along with that project, as well as the support of the community, because it took a lot of support. The economic times weren't great then, just like they are now. But it took a lot of forethought, not on just those that were pushing the project internally, but those that had to ultimately pay the price for that project. And water from that project has served the city of Los Angeles and actually all outlying areas very well for the past more than 100 years. But these sorts of long-standing projects will not get us through in the next 50 years by themselves. We need to work together. We need to be more innovative to develop new local water resources that will assure that our children's children will have an adequate and safe, reliable supply of water. We need to educate the community about the importance of achieving independence for imported water and what that really means by developing local water supplies. And the good news is it can be done. WRD's WIN program will be a large part of that effort. We also need to work together to tap into other local water resources that we have right beneath our feet. We've got nearly 500,000 acre-feet of storage available in the groundwater basins that we're standing on right now. That can be put into great use to further eliminate the entire region's demand for imported water. It will allow us to take advantage of surplus water during the wet years, and we can use that water during normal and dry years. We used to say dry years, but the normal years are what we used to call dry years. So we'll need that water for normal and dry years. The good news is that with all of these things taken into account, we can assure a safe and reliable supply of water into the future. But for us, it'll take dedication, it'll take innovation, education, along with a bit of perspiration to get us there. I believe it can be done, and I thank you for you being here. It shows that you care about water, and you will be helping us to develop these projects and make sure they get implemented, protecting the future supply for generations to come. Thank you.
As we get ready to open our question and answer segment of this event, I do believe I missed Commissioner Frank Clark. Mr. Clark, are you here? You're doing this. Thank you. If you have any questions or comments, I'll run right over there so everyone can hear the question. Oh.
As we look towards global warming and climate disruption, what projections do you make for change in the rainfall in the watershed, which might upset your plans? Have you made predictions? Do you anticipate increase, decrease? Don't know. How will that affect your plan?
You're talking about in relation to what is referred to as climate change or global warming? I don't believe that we have any predictions or models in that.
Only what's been published, and basically what we have to do is plan for it. I don't mean that as a cop-out answer, but we're looking at everything from how the rainfall, how much rainfall will occur, how much snowfall will occur. But what really looks like it's going to change is when that snow is going to melt and come down into the rivers and streams and become a water supply for our area. In addition, we're protecting against seawater intrusion along the coastline. We actually have to look at how increasing sea levels will affect that as well. So we're monitoring that information and trying to plan as best we can based on what we do.
Any other questions, comments, kind suggestions?
I've got another question. We come from the Claremont area, so we're learning from what you're doing. And I just wondered if you have interaction with other neighboring potential districts that we are.
Definitely. The water community, not just in our region, but locally in Southern California, is a close one. We work very well together. There are a lot of associations set up that we participate in, go to exchange ideas. With each other a lot with different water agencies, and no, we work very well together. Yes, sir.
My name is Bill. I'm here on behalf of local state senator Rod White. Actually, 4 of the 5 directors' districts overlap his senatorial district. As you are administering the water resources and working with agencies of all sorts that handle all aspects of water, do you see the ability to capture water, the free-flowing water which comes from the sky, comes from the ground, comes from channelized or natural sources, but do you see enough opportunity to capture and store water? Or are we in this region, certainly other parts of the state, are we continuing to lose vast amounts of free-flowing water to the sea?
Great question. We, on average, working with the LA County Flood Control District, we're able to capture about 54,000 acre feet of water each year. That's enough for about families every year. That's free water that flows down either the LA River or the San Gabriel River in our area. But we can do more. The low-hanging fruit's been picked, but the bigger projects have already been implemented. Now we're looking at projects that might yield 500 acre feet, 1,000 acre feet. We have identified opportunities to do that. We're also in the middle of a study right now that is going to try and basically get us to think outside the box and look for opportunities that might even be smaller, but when we add them all up, they really, they hopefully will become significant. But we're looking at capture of stormwater as much as we can. The problem that we're dealing with is that before people really saw the value of water back when there was more than enough water to meet the demands of a much smaller population, going back 50 or more years, the idea was when it rained, not to capture that water, but to get rid of it as quickly as possible. And that's why we have channelized riverbeds like we do. Those are designed to get this flow of water. You know, we get our storm events happen pretty intense over a short period of time, and those river systems are designed to get out to the ocean as quickly as possible. So we have to, basically it's like sticking a straw into a fireplace sometimes. But we battle against that and battle against the fact that we're in a very urbanized area, and we need a lot of space to put this water because it comes down so quickly in such great numbers and such great quantities that we've got to have a place to put it. And we're not going to build a dam and a reservoir in this community. So we have to look at the little efforts, little straws. Get enough straws in that fire hose will add up to something.
Next question? Somebody's here.
Julia Juarez, representing the Land Office. I just a quick question. I see that you were speaking about sea level going up. How much? I know that right now you have a system that takes salt out of seawater. How much of that is healthy? And is that something that we can look at for the future? That maybe that's something that we want to look into to increase our water supply?
Are you talking about ocean?
Yes.
Ocean water, desalting ocean water. That's certainly an opportunity and certainly a source of water that's been identified as a fresh, portable supply. Our focus from our agency is to utilize more of the recycled water that we have available that's just flowing out to the ocean. We'd like to capture some of the sources before they get to the ocean, put those to use first. So our focus has not been on ocean desal, or there are other agencies that are looking at that. The other thing is we have, because of the seawater intrusion that you referred to, we have water that has found its way into the aquifers along the coastal region, ocean water, that has made some of the groundwater salty. And we're looking at pulling that water out and making that potable water through the same technology as ocean desal. But because it's not as salty as the ocean, it's much less costly to do that. The saltier the water you're removing, the more energy you use to do that. And that'll provide two purposes, two benefits for us. One is provides a potable water supply, and two is it gets that salty water, the brackish water out of the ground and makes more room for fresh water for storage purposes.
Any other questions?
I know that you have a lot of programs, community programs, teaching people how to plant plants that don't take so much water and that type of thing. Is there a type of program available right now for the community that can teach them how to contain their own storm water that's coming from their ceilings?
There isn't one single program. There are efforts out there to provide education and studies that we're participating in. The stormwater study that I mentioned could identify opportunities to do that, and from there we would go out and educate the public about those opportunities that look most beneficial. We've also been involved with a long-term study along with several other agencies where a neighborhood was picked out, and we've actually helped to fund improvements made to the streets and the storm drain system to allow that water to be captured and put back into the ground. So we're looking at how that could apply practically to other areas of the basin. Any other questions? That's Rob explaining something of this.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. It's been a true pleasure and honor. As far as, I think, what do we call them, swales, where we actually make implementation of bioswales. So I believe bioswales are talked about in our Eco Garden program, and we have 3 different levels of the program, as I understand. We have one which is free for constituents, anybody that's in the service area can participate and learn about indigenous or desert-friendly or California-friendly plants, which have a lower demand for water, creating landscaping with natural bioswales to try to maintain more water instead of, in lieu of it having it just flow away and look at the ocean and things of this nature. So yeah, we do have this resource available to our constituents, and we have 2 other levels, one for professional companies and another for our stakeholders, the cities and mutual water companies that do this type of work. So again, thank you for being here. It's been a true pleasure. We hope to see you next year around this time for our next district address. And as we find ourselves in the middle of the fiscal year, towards the end of the calendar year, and in the beginning of the water year, thank you for being our partners and thank you for being here, folks.
Okay, now to introduce our 4th honoree today, I'd like to invite board member Robert Catherman to the stage.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to honor a very good friend of mine, a leader in water for more than 3 decades since his time as a council member and mayor of the city of Cerritos, and that was our supervisor, Don Kanabi. Los Angeles County.
Everybody stay back. I want to get spread out. Andy could be the only one spread
The rest of the South Coast. My great pleasure and honor to give our to Don Kanabi and his deputy, Aaron Navarez.
Thank you very much. Thank you for putting on the festival, to all the sponsors. This is just a great festival. I hope you're all having a great time. Supervisor Kanabi, firstly, sends his regrets that he isn't able to join us here today. But on behalf of the supervisor, I would like to thank the Water Replenishment District and its board for this tremendous honor as a water ambassador, Supervisor Kanabi. I would also like to thank the WRD for its strong dedication to protecting one of our region's most precious and critical resources, groundwater. It is very important to this region, to businesses, to residents alike, and the WRD is just a tremendous leader in providing clean water programs and water supply projects for this region. So it is a tremendous honor to be recognized by a body like this. So thank you very much for this award, and I hope you'll have a very great day. And just again, thank you very much.
It is always nice when I can see a fellow journalist being awarded. So with that, to introduce our fifth honoree is board member Albert Robles.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. And thank you for being here. As was mentioned, we do have another reporter here who's being honored, and we all have favorite reporters. And obviously, when it comes from television, our favorite channel is Channel 7 News. That's our favorite. But being recognized today is another individual who would make the great American broadcaster Walter Cronkite very proud. He is a man with conviction, objectivity, and truth when it comes to reporting. He is passionate about the community and reporting issues on all community issues, including water. And as many of you know, water is not a very easy subject to report upon. The LA Times and all our other publications don't report on water very often because, as they have told me, it's a complex issue. But this individual has reported on the ongoings in the water industry many times, and reported on the water replenishment district, both positive and one would say negative, but always with the truth. And for that, we're very, very appreciative. And with that, please join me in honoring our next honoree, Mr. Arnold Adler.
Thank you very much. I'm usually out there covering stuff like this, not up here. However, I think it's interesting that a water award is going to an employee of Wave newspapers. What's in the name? Who knows?